One Zambia, one nation. Hello and welcome to the news. I am your presenter, Henry Himonde. The headlines in our news. Defense Minister announces drought intervention measures. Chizongwe STEM Secondary School gets facelift. Breakdown of pontoon on Chambeshi River affects service provision. Plus, President Hakainde Hichilema to launch National Youth Policy. And now the news in detail. Following President Hakainde Hichilema's declaration of a drought situation in Zambia as a national disaster and his subsequent directive to the security wings to help contribute towards mitigation of the impact of the drought, Minister of Defense Ambrose Lufuma has announced short to medium-term interventions that will be undertaken by the security wings. Mr. Lufuma says the defense wings will immediately start implementing projects towards increased irrigation and acquisition of additional land to increase maize production. Details in the following report.
With over 1 million households projected to be affected by the drought being experienced in the country, President Hakainde Hichilema last week declared the drought a national disaster. The president further tasked the defense forces to step in and help mitigate the effects of the dry spell on the country's food security. In response to this directive, Minister of Defense Ambrose Lufuma today announced short to mid-term plans to be implemented with immediate effect by the defense forces.
To coordinate the speed actualization of the Commander-in-Chief's directive, I have decided to constitute a drought disaster and emergency response team to be chaired by the Permanent Secretary, with members drawn from all the three services. I therefore expect total cooperation from the defense wing. As Minister of Defense, therefore, I will ensure that the presidential directive is implemented, and I hereby task the three defense wings in the short term as follows. 1. The Zambia National Service to immediately start preparations for irrigated maize in all farms that have center pivot irrigation equipment. 2. The Zambia Army and Zambia Air Force to utilize water sources within and around the Copper Belt and Northwestern Province-based farms to engage in irrigated maize production through drip irrigation. 3. The ministry will leverage on the expertise of the Zambia National Service in agriculture production through the provision of technical and mechanical support to the two sister wings or services. 4. Intensify anti-smuggling operations. Intensify anti-smuggling operation efforts countrywide to ensure locally available stocks are not smuggled out. 5. Zambia National Service to ensure streamlined distribution of its Eagles millennium and also continue forging partnerships with more private millers to ensure every corner of this country is supplied with fairly priced millennium.
Heads of the defense wings also shared the interventions that they have planned and committed their readiness to implement.
We've decided to expand the extent of the field there. I'm already in talks with the ZNS commander, who will be able to assist us with excavators and all that equipment that is required for us to be able to expand. So we'll take advantage of that. I went a step further to talk to a couple of traditional leaders in the Lufonyama area, and they've gladly accepted our request to give us additional land.
ZNS will this year suspend the growing of wheat in order to permit all its irrigation equipment to grow irrigated maize. 2 new farms, namely Shikabeta farm in Funsa and Iwena farm in Kawambwa, will be added to those where ZNS will grow maize. Each of the farms will add 128 and 120 hectares, respectively.
Sarah Miti for Zanis in Lusaka.
In a related development, National Development Coordinating Committee Chairperson Tumbeko Musokotwani has implored government partners and stakeholders to prioritize the drought declaration in their programming. Dr. Musokotwani says following the declaration of the drought as a national disaster and emergency, it is important that drought takes priority in programming in 2024 in order to mitigate the potential devastating consequences on critical sectors across the country. Dr. Musokotwani, who is also Minister of Finance and National Planning, said this today in a speech read on his behalf by Secretary to the Cabinet Patrick Kangwa at the first 2024 National Development Coordinating Committee meeting held at Mulungushi International Conference Center in Lusaka. And in education news, government has reiterated its commitment to empowering the vulnerable and marginalized through the provision of quality education, especially for the girl child. Minister of Education Douglas Isiagalima says efforts are being made with support from the United Kingdom to prioritize gender equality in the provision of education. Details in this report by Audrey Kalenga.
Access to quality education, especially the girl child, is one of the government's top priority development agenda. That is why the government introduced free education to accommodate the girl child who was mainly left out due to societal norms. The British Council Schools Connect has organized a conference with participation from 15 countries to reflect on progress made in achieving the Sustainable Development Goal number 5 of providing quality education.
Around 40% of people are taught in a language that they don't understand, and around 100 million children leave without having learnt the basics. So at the British Council, we believe that in order to try and improve on that situation, we need change, not only at policy level, not only in terms of practice, but also in terms of culture. And that in many ways means societal attitudes. Society needs to believe that girls, that children with special educational needs and disabilities, that displaced young people, including refugees, pupils from different ethnicities, for example, from the predominant one in the country, all of these children must be educated to the same exacting standards.
Minister of Education Douglas Yakalima has opened a 3-day conference emphasizing the government's commitment towards the provision of quality education.
Typically, a girl's place within the family and the community begins to shift during adolescence when harmful norms begin to shape her life, choices and freedoms. Policymakers, school leaders, and communities must safeguard the learning opportunities for children and girls in particular. My government appreciates the collaboration and support from the United Kingdom government towards different interventions in the education sector delivered through the British Council and peace. Take, for instance, the support provided through the Empowerment for the Development of Girls' Education, which is AGE, and Schools Connect. Schools Connect. This AGE project is supporting policy implementation, while Schools Connect is currently supporting school leaders with leading learning and gender equity courses.
And British Council Country Director for Zambia and Zimbabwe, Roland Davis, said through Global Education Partnership, more than 14 million girls have been educated, and the Council is also working on supporting research in more than 40 countries.
So I don't forget anything. British Council is the UK's cultural relations organisation. We build connections between people around the world. We're particularly interested, obviously, in the connections between the UK and the different countries around the world. We do that in the areas of arts, of education, and of the English language. We're very interested in the concept of mutuality. What we can learn from each other.
The conference has attracted participants from Zambia, India, Lebanon, Iran, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, South Africa, among other countries. Audrey Kalenga for Zanis in Lusaka.
Government has released 719,000 kwacha meant for the rehabilitation of infrastructure at Chizongwe STEM Secondary School in Chipata District. School Deputy Head Teacher Charles Chilala says works on the infrastructure are currently ongoing and expected to be concluded within the course of the month. More in this report by Abigail Kashweka.
Government has released funds to facilitate the rehabilitation of infrastructure that was damaged by a storm at Chizongwe STEM Secondary School in Chipata District. The incident that happened in December last year mainly affected roofs of a classroom block, storage facility, tuck shop, pottery house, and a sick bay. Luckily, schools were closed at the time.
There was a stormy rain that actually affected most of the infrastructure around our school. And the affected blocks are the block that is just behind me here, the pottery house, the tuck shop, as well as there is a classroom block which is being plastered right now. Then two other blocks are the sick bay and the storeroom where mattresses of the whole school are stored. It was very disastrous in the sense that a number of our mattresses got wet and took time for us to ferry them from that place to a safer place.
The school appreciates government's quick response to ensure the affected buildings are worked on.
I would like to thank the government of the day for the quick response to our request for finances so that our structures that were affected could be brought back to their normal state. We received a funding of 719,000 kwacha to facilitate the rehabilitation works, which are currently ongoing. And behind me here, the roofing is taking shape, and there is also the plastering that is ongoing. The companies involved are two. We have one which is going to work on these two blocks, and then the other one will work on the other three blocks. All in total, we are 5 that we affected.
Works are expected to be completed within the course of the month. Meanwhile, an alternative shelter has been sought for pupils who occupy the affected classroom block in order to avoid disruptions in learning. Abigail Kashweka reporting in Chipata District.
And Copperbelt Province Minister Elisha Matambo says government is ready to work with an organization that will supplement its efforts. Mr. Matambo has since commended the move by the Support Sustain Succeed Zambia for constructing a 1x3 classroom block at Mapalo Bread of Life Community School in Chipulukusu area in Dola District. Residents of Chambeshi area in Chinsali district are appealing to government to repair the pontoon and complete the construction of the Mbesuma Bridge across the Chambeshi River. Minister of Small and Medium Enterprise Development, Elias Mwanga, was in the area to appreciate the situation. More in this report.
Following the non-functioning of a pontoon at Chambeshi River in Chinsali district of Mchinga province, which connects the province to northern province, residents have suffered a setback for over a month now. The affected residents talked to have expressed concern over the impact on their businesses and the education sector, with a call to government to intervene in the matter before the situation worsens. We are appealing to government to come to our aid. Even school-going children are not able to attend classes due to lack of a bridge here. We are appealing to government to come to our rescue. In 2020 it happened, and again in 2024 it has happened again.
So they are using those canoes to cross the children, very dangerous. So if a road can be done and the bridge is done, that will ease the movements of the people from that side and the other side to go to Kasama and also to cross over here.
Minister of Small and Medium Enterprises Development, Elias Mwanga, recently toured the affected area to appreciate the challenges.
I'm also sad to see, such situations. Mbesuma Bridge, I think since the time of independence, this bridge was in the plan to be constructed. But all these years, it has taken so long. Our people here, for sure, they are suffering. Mbesuma Bridge, I think since the time of independence, this bridge was in the plan to be constructed. But all these years, it has taken so long. I'm taking this to chat with the Minister for Infrastructure, Honorable Milupi, to see what we can do for our people here. I know it's a big project. We will need a lot of money, but New Dawn government is committed to save the lives of our people and to make sure that every part of this country.
Miriam Kumwenda, reporting for Zanis in Chinsali, Muchinga Province.
Southern Province Minister Credo Nanjua has expressed disappointment over the behavior by Kolam Coal Mine Management of Sinazongwe District for failing to attend a management meeting that was supposed to discuss statutory compliance at the mine. Mr. Nanjua has since warned that government will not tolerate investors who are not law-abiding. Gift Banji now reports.
Due to non-compliance with labor laws, safety and environmental standards, Southern Province Minister Credo Nanjua summoned Kolam Coal Mine CEO Yau Juan to his office.
I wish to express my great disappointment with you as CEO of the company. When we make an appointment, sir, to come and visit your company, we are not coming there for anything, but we want to engage with investors in the province, see how they are doing, appreciate their work, and also appreciate the challenges that they are facing, so that together with yourselves, we are able to discuss and find solutions to the challenges. But running away from us is not the solution.
Kolam Coal Mine CEO Yau Juan has now paid a catty score on Southern Province Minister and showed commitment to dialogue with government.
I supposed to came with my colleague, Mr. Dindui, but his eyes got a problem. According to the doctor instruction, he couldn't manage this long distance driving. That's why I came alone. We received a message from this office, so we are willing to come here to tackle the issues of our mine.
Nanjua has taken up the serious concerns of workers on the violation of labor laws and non-compliance to statutory obligations.
So, sir, we are asking for maximum cooperation from your company. I know at times, colleagues, some investors believe that they are connected somewhere, and they bring that kind of arrogance. I wouldn't mind about that. We are connected to the government, to the laws of the government. You don't abide by the rules, whoever you are connected to, you'll be disconnected.
Gift Banji, Zanis in Choma, Southern Province.
Gift Banji there with that report. Now, a Kapirimposhi-based environmentalist has called on councils and traditional leaders in the country to immediately develop bylaws to curb indiscriminate burning of bushes in their jurisdiction in order to preserve the environment in the wake of the dry spell being experienced in the country. Kapiri Eco Village Empowerment Program Director Christopher Banda says burning of bushes is destructive to environmental sustainability and can worsen the impact of the dry spell on human and animal life. Mr. Banda states that councils and chiefs have powers to discourage bush burning to preserve pasture for both domestic and wild animals. President Hakainde Hichilema recently declared the current prolonged dry spell as a national disaster and emergency and discouraged bush burning among other short-term measures to respond to the disaster.
The message by the president is a message of life-saving. The responsibility now is supposed it falls squarely on the head or the shoulders of our councils to make bylaws. We should ban burning of the bushes. Now, another angle Another area which is very, very, very important is actually the throne of our chiefs. Very, very important because they have got high respect in the community. Whatever they say, it becomes a bylaw in that chiefdom. So they also play a very strong role to make sure that what the president has mentioned is actuated.
Over 500 women in Kaputa district are set to benefit from the productivity grants under the Supporting Women's Livelihood program through the Department of Community Development. Kaputa District Community Development Officer Teresa Sakashalo says women will be given the grant of 3,790 kwacha each. The money will be given in 2 installments. More in this report.
Government has continued to empower women through different initiatives. This time, the Department of Community Development in Kaputa District is set to empower women through the Supporting Women's Livelihood program.
So na pali chinde mikonkomesho kwebati ayama savings batuweba tekutupanikawe ubuteko bufwafyo kwebati tule mitungirira mule bomba ayama savings nikubusumashe bwenu taifo fini nga mule saving indala mashira chitashani shiralunduruka nishubu afya pamanda bwa chitashani wakwa.
The beneficiaries are happy with the program and are looking forward to improving their livelihoods.
Ndetotera kubuteko okondetera cha number 1 ndetira mwabombeni mukwayi bantu tatwaye nekere ekintu kyakitika pakushiku bwerero ngafwe bana mayo ere kaili mukabungwaka inentungulushi yaili bomba kanshi tatuwafirwepo kashi mwe buteko tulelo omefe kuti mutu alile feta tuwakafira kaita tuwakeshe.
Raymond Chalata reporting for Zanis in Kaputa District, Northern Province.
And in Luapula Province, Mwansabombwe District Community Development Officer Elizabeth Msesa says the implementation of the Supporting Women Livelihood project in the district has transformed the living standards of most beneficiaries. More in this report.
These are members of Sansamken Women's Saving Group. The women in this group are among the 1,600 women in Mwansabombwe district who were empowered with grants under the Supporting Women's Livelihood SWL project. They now explain the benefits they have derived from the project.
Narishireko ploti shimbira shifika mu saving group. Abapali ino shitero tuwapashire nalipa misha kama bricks. Then defo ashteko tu cement tu moko tu nshiba ntekele kwenshi akanda then konkanya kono saving ana business.
Napela muna bakulima akashara ndashaka tu tomato niranga fwafe sana okusungura kwa.
Others have managed to construct better houses while others are into businesses.
Nadisa saving about 7,000. Naisa twaisa chita share out. What we share ta share out. Nadia odamo tufuti tumbi tokisa mukubila. So olo na ile chita tufike tumbi. Kaidi futi twamba saving apandelanda si ukunikwa ta 4,000. They space mama napo.
District Community Development Officer Elizabeth Msesa now explains the impact of the SWL project.
Mwansabombwe was privileged to implement Supporting Women Livelihood from phase 2 to phase 5. And so far, I can attest to the fact that there has been massive impact. Our women, the ones that were empowered with grants, they put this money to good use. Some invested this money in businesses. Others have been able to invest it in farming, build houses, involve themselves in poultry farming, and also in goat rearing.
Lewis Changwe, Zanis, Mwansabombwe, Luapula Province.
And in Northern Province, Senga Hill residents have expressed happiness with the progress made on the construction of the first ever filling station. The district also has the first ever radio station operating on test transmission. Jerry Simwinga, a resident, says the construction of the filling station will enable people in the area to access fuel within the uniform price mechanism. And Odo Navela Kariati has noted that the construction of the local radio station will provide timely information to the public.
Filling station ekintu kimwe kikankala sana pamulandu n'okutwala ekyalo pantanshi. Ekyalo pantanshi kibombera n'amafuta ngomu bakibalandira bakasosera. Intamfu yale panga ilya emushabalira muba apo awenda nshira bama myotoka maonda afimfya kyala tabaye kwete eshukola kuti bano amafuta mpepi. Nombelelo balatampo kuno like
abalira panga radio station. Twayamba nomukwendera pamo n'obuteeko n'ekyalo pakwishibati ushefire kitika lero ifishi. Pantu nomba ili ashirionse na fionse tukala umfwa fili abaye nama mchinkwalo ndati update. Teria kuisa mkumfwa ati yobati. Uchila muntu wakalanda akolalanda alelanda nomba.
Still in Northern Province, Provincial Permanent Secretary Bernard Mpundu has expressed concern with the continued increase in malaria cases in the province. Mr. Mpundu says it is worrying that malaria has remained the leading cause of morbidity in the region. Details in the following report by Kweto Ngoshe.
It is the leading cause of morbidity and death, making it the biggest disease burden for Northern Province. According to the Ministry of Health, malaria is the top public health challenge, accounting for 538 infections per 1,000 population in 2023. And Northern Province Permanent Secretary Bernard Mpundu says government will continue to strengthen malaria elimination strategies. Mr. Mpundu, who was represented by Provincial Deputy Permanent Secretary Lewis Mwape, said this when he graced the Provincial Health Integrated Review meeting in Kasama.
I'm aware that the province currently has the presence of USAID, PAMO Plus, HAMREF, Global Fund that support malaria programs. We need to enhance collaboration to continue implementing evidence-based. And I think the issue to do with advocacy is also very cardinal. That's very important. Let's understand and do a mapping of available community-based institutions that can help us fight malaria.
And Provincial Health Director Ernest Mutale used the occasion to highlight various interventions in the health sector.
We have challenges in transport. We hope that will be remembered even through CDF. So we always tell the DHDs that be part of those committees to lobby per constituency if we can have an ambulance per constituency, because it was planned for in 2024. So we are going to benefit a lot from those. The same with the maternity annexes, solar power and water.
Nkwetongoshe for Zanis in Kasama.
An education expert in Mansar district has commended government for abolishing grade 12 examination fees since the introduction of the free education policy. John Chanda, a retired head teacher, says the move has seen more pupils sit for grade 12 examinations. More in the following report by Kennedy Chomba.
Since the abolishment of the grade 12 examination fees, which came as a result of the free education policy, the number of candidates to sit for the exams increased to 2.8% in 2023 countrywide. In Mansa district, a retired head teacher, John Chanda, recalls the struggles pupils went through to pay examination fees before the free education policy.
I'm also looking at the examinations. This time children are not paying for examinations. That time to collect money for examinations was very difficult. Extremely. To some extent, we used to ask our teachers to contribute so that they meet fees for the children, especially those that were very, very intelligent, would donate money and help our learners. Now this time government is paying for them. Sure, this is a plus.
Mr. Chanda says the free education policy has shown why it is essential for the country's socio-economic growth.
And then also the funding that schools receive this time are utilized in acquiring learning and teaching materials That time it was very difficult because as a head or a teacher, you really had to struggle. First, raise money by sending out children. The little money you collect, you go and buy now teaching and learning materials. These issues are not coming from government. It's very, very clear. So it was very difficult. But this time, surely, I think this policy has a lot of advantages from my experience. And I'm sure most of our parents, both in rural and urban schools, are very, very happy about this.
Since the introduction of the free education policy, Luapula province has seen its pupil enrollment increased by 20% from 2021 to 2023. Kene Chomba, reporting for Zanis News in Mansa District.
Southern Province Youth Development Coordinator Tobias Tembo has called on youths to take advantage of the Agriculture Resettlement Empowerment Program to increase their contribution to the food basket of the country. Mr. Tembo has explained that the program being implemented by the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Arts empowers youths that are willing to relocate to the resettlement land in northern and northwestern provinces meant for agricultural activities. Wakumelo Study has more in this report.
Agriculture has been identified as a vital sector in rebuilding the economy. With the country having a large population consisting of young people, there is need for them to spearhead production in the agriculture sector. Therefore, the Department of Youth in Southern Province is now urging the youths to utilize the Agriculture Resettlement Empowerment Program under its ministry.
The president just declared a national disaster because of the dry spell, and food is one of the most affected, areas. So more and more people have to be engaged in growing food, especially the youths. So this national resettlement scheme for the youth is a very important program which a lot of young people should take advantage of, because the ministry has vast land in Northern Province, and in Northwestern Province where youths can cultivate and, contribute to national food security.
And Youth Development Organization is challenging youths to come on board and offer solutions to challenges brought about by climate change.
Today we're talking about climate change. All this drought we're experiencing today, it's about human activities. As a country, through youth, we make a contribution in reversing the trends of climate change which are ravaging society and making it difficult for just the country to economically move forward.
Meanwhile, Young Women Christian Association wants youths to use the Youth Day commemorations to voice out ideas that should be considered for national development.
It's a day that youth are supposed to reflect on how they can help in terms of development, on how they can help the government with new ideas. But nowadays what we are seeing is something very sad. We are seeing young people, young women, young boys and girls involving in alcohol abuse.
Wakumelo Study, reporting for Zanis in Choma District, Southern Province.
And to conclude the news, Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts Elvis Nkandu says President Hakainde Hichilema is expected to launch the National Youth Policy on March 15, 2024. Mr. Nkandu says the ministry has made extensive consultations to received submissions from various stakeholders regarding the policy. He says the policy has guidelines on how the Ministry of Youth will collaborate in order to contribute to economic development. Speaking in an interview with Zanis, Mr. Nkandu says on the same date, the National Youth Indaba will be held and youths across the country are expected to participate.
The National Youth Indaba, it has been shifted to the 15th of March because I think that's when the president will be ready for these young people. And here we do expect inclusiveness where youths from even the rural parts of the country will be able to be part. This is the day for us which is very important in our calendar, because that is the day that will be launching the National Youth Policy, the long-awaited National Youth Policy. So we are very excited that what we talked about last year with the young people, that they wanted this National Youth Policy as early as yesterday, it is happening on the 15th. And the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, will be able to launch this important document. On the 12th now, the D-Day, that's when we will be having the wreath laying by the President, joined by the diplomatic corps and also other stakeholders. So this time around, the president will be in the Eastern Province under the theme Zambia 60, hashtag be a change.
Thank you so much for staying with us on the news desk. Before we go, let's take another look at the top stories. Defense Minister announces drought intervention measures. Chizongwe STEM Secondary School gets facelift. Breakdown of pontoon on Chambeshi River affects service provision. Plus, President Hakainde Hichilema to launch National Youth Policy. On behalf of the entire news production crew, my name is Henry Himonde. Remember to join us again tomorrow at the same time for another edition. For now, it's goodbye.